Hi everyone, so let's talk about low contrast looks. This is not 12 season color analysis, this is only 4 seasons, and we have 2 bright seasons. So spring is warm and bright, and summer is cool and bright, and winter is cool and muted, autumn is warm and muted. So usually people who are winters and autumns, so the muted seasons, they have a pretty intuitive job, and so they just wear muted colors and then they have this low contrast look. But here I really want to discuss how can a summer or a spring, someone who's supposed to wear bright colors, how can they achieve a low contrast look? What is low contrast in the first place, right? So low contrast is basically there's little difference between the colors. So there are 3 qualities that we want to optimize for having little difference. So first, we want it to be warm and cool. We want that to be the same. We want the value to be the same. So we don't want one color to be lighter, one color to be darker. And last but not least, and this is often overlooked, is we want the chroma to actually be the same. So if your skin color is bright, you also want to wear a bright color. Pretty non-intuitive for a low contrast look. So let me show you what I mean. So if you know Nicole Kidman, you've watched my videos on does contrast matter, you know that she's a summer, so she looks good in cool, bright colors. And you can see here that she looks better in the black than she does in the gray. And even though her skin is really pale, her skin is a very strong color, and that's why it can really stand up against that black color. And she has a very high chroma, like a very bright look to her. With the gray, on the other hand, her skin looks quite separate from the garment, so the color of her arm stands out a bit from that gray garment, and you can see that in that picture. So here we have Nicole trying to achieve a low contrast look. So in the gray, as we discussed, it looks a bit separate from her. In the middle dress, I think she looks great. But I do want to note that it looks like the straps of that dress are pure white, and pure white is a summer color. And also, I think she's wearing quite a bit of silver bronzer if you look at more photos of her in that dress. So finally, the white dress. I think the white dress looks great, and she's matching in terms of chroma and in terms of temperature. So I think pure white is more of a cool color. But she's really not matching the values, so the dress is lighter than her skin tone. Here is an example of something that really looks right. So I think she looks great here, and I think this is a successful low contrast look for Nicole. So you can see that the sweater has some purple in it, so it's not completely colorless. So you need some color in there. And then on top of that, the temperature is correct, so it's a cool color, just like her skin tone. And not only that, finally, the value is also correct. So when you make the photo black and white, that's what I mean by value. It's the same depth of color. It's the same value. So this is finally, I think this is her best low contrast look. So I think this just looks great. So this dress and the whole look together looks amazing and looks quite low contrast. And again, it matches her skin in temperature, value, and chroma. So I think it looks absolutely perfect, and the skin is not separate. And not only that, it's that, her skin, we can actually see the dress next to her skin, and it's all harmonious, right? It's not like her skin is jumping out, which will ironically make it look more high contrast. So, okay, here's another example. So this is Alicia Keys. She's a summer, and I'll just do a brief sort of explanation of why she's a summer. So she looks the best in the bright blue there, and she doesn't look that great in that yellow color. So she's obviously a cool undertone, but when you compare her, so now that we know that she's a cool undertone, we can check if she's cool muted or cool bright. And you can see that in the gray, I think she looks slightly worse in the gray. I don't think she looks bad, but I think she looks much better in the blue, and she looks best in the blue and most alive and glowing in the blue. So how can she achieve a low contrast look? Okay, so this is another example. So the chroma of the dress is the same as the chroma of her skin, so it's just as bright as her undertone. Not only that, it's also the same value, as you can see from the picture on the black and white picture on the right. And not only that, it's the same temperature, so it's a cool color. And I just really like this. I Google imaged her different hair colors, and I like this mermaid hair that she has going. So I don't know. I don't know if she should pair that mermaid hair with the purple dress. It might be a bit too much purple, but anyway. So yeah, which do you think looks more harmonious? Is it this the gray dress on her, or the purple dress? And I think that the purple dress, ironically, actually looks more low contrast on her, more similar to her skin tone than that gray dress. And then I was thinking, well, maybe the gray dress, maybe it's not exactly the same value. Maybe it's the value of the gray dress, and that's why it looks just a tiny bit more separate from her than the purple dress. But actually, no, I don't. It's actually not, I don't think, it's actually not the value. And as you can see here, the values are actually the same. And isn't that pretty surprising? Because even I expected that those values would be slightly different, and maybe that's why the gray looks a little bit more separate than the purple from her. But in fact, it's because matching chroma is actually really important for a low contrast look. Chroma, value, temperature, those are all important factors to try to match. So let's give some examples of the warm, bright seasons, so the spring. So Oprah Winfrey is a spring. She looks best in warm, bright colors, and you can see there on the left her doing, ironically, a very low contrast look. And that color against her skin, it's matched in chroma, it's matched in value, and it's matched in temperature, and it just looks very low contrast. And you would never think an orange dress, a bright orange dress, as a low contrast look for almost anyone, but for Oprah Winfrey, it totally is, because she's a spring. The same story for Eva Longoria. Eva Longoria, yeah, it's the same exact story. And when you look at the values of each of these colors, the middle dress, that lime green dress that is in the middle, is a little bit lighter, but the orange dress that Eva Longoria was wearing on the far right really does look extremely low contrast. And now we can see these the values of all of these dresses, and we can see that the values are really similar, especially for Oprah Winfrey's dress and for Eva Longoria's dress on the far right. So that's it, you guys. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, so I guess the whole point is that you want to match chroma, value, and temperature, not simply, low contrast does not always mean low chroma. Low contrast means very little difference in chroma, very little difference in value, and very little difference in temperature between your skin and the garment. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.